Hello everyone, WX Ninja here with your daily weather forecast. A little late this afternoon, still getting over being sick, so I slept in, but I do feel better. Anyhow, off here on the west coast, you see some rain for Oregon and Washington in there. So we've got a big low pressure center in the central U.S. here, sweeping on through, tapping into that tropical moisture. We saw this on the models last week. The talk of this just all through the whole country, just big old front coming through. Looks like that's happening, tapping into that tropical moisture. So let's take a look at the models. This is the GFS, the latest run of the GFS. It shows that big low pressure center here, front draped all the way down, getting the subtropical moisture. You see the remnants of the tropical moisture that came to Florida and the East Coast here, southern East Coast, just kicking off into out to sea. Looks like it's 1,006 millibars right now, so it's dying down, which is good news for the mariners out there. All right, but let's take a look forward in time here. You can see the front sweeping through the country. And you see Oregon and Washington getting some rain as well. This look, it's up here, 987. So it's a pretty strong low. Maybe some blizzard conditions on the backside of the low, depending on how much cold air gets in there. I don't know. We will have to see how that goes. It sweeps all the way down to Florida, and then it starts to eject off once we get into early or late Tuesday night, whatever you want to say there. A few showers over here up in Montana. Looks like the west coast is clearing out. You have a high pressure center developing there off of Vancouver Island. Monster though, going to bring heavy rain to parts of the east coast, it looks like. It's just going to keep on heading out east up into the New England states, clearing out in the west. Little high pressure center coming here, clearing things out, and then it slowly sags southeast. Like some more tropical moisture down where they just got the storm. So we'll see if that's going to form into anything down there in the Gulf. Doesn't look like it. Like maybe just some lingering moisture there. We'll have to see. You got the high pressure here still keeping the west coast pretty much dry. That moisture is just hanging around. And then you see it's trying to form a low pressure center, it looks like maybe. Meanwhile, up here in Canada, got a low pressure center forming, moving on through 990, pretty strong. So maybe some moisture to the northern parts of Washington, Idaho, Montana. I almost said Michigan. That would have been really wrong. Then you see it kind of coming into more of Montana there as the low pressure center here drags off, and we did not look at that one. So you can see that moisture. It looks like maybe a frontal boundary sets up, and you're going to get some rain here along the southeast states. You just got it. So another wet weekend coming your way maybe. Getting that time of year. Heavy rain there. This low pressure center, looks like most of the energy is staying up north, some on the backside here. Roots across 986, that's a pretty good low. Again, we see the rain still on the east coast, slowly moving away. Some lingering snow showers into Montana. Low pressure center stays north. So we've seen a lot of low pressure centers. I mean, we have had some dip down south, but we've seen a lot of almost like a zonal flow up here. So it looks like we have a low pressure center developing here in the Four Corners region. I think it's going to kick some snow up there. And then it dies down really quick. Wow, that's crazy. So just some snow showers probably. More moisture still here in the Gulf. And now we're a week out, so take this with a grain of salt, as they say. Some snow showers moving in down here. Montana again. It's that time of year, low pressure center moving across the country. Maybe a snowstorm setting up there. That'd be interesting to see. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see. If you remember last week, they had a big Arctic, well, I don't want to say Arctic, but cold air mass coming all the way down into the southeast here. And now you can see it's not as dominant, but now that right there, that's a pretty low pressure center develops right there. It's down to 995, so that's Great Lakes snow. It looks pretty broad in here though. Still, Excuse me. So they're going to get some snow in the Great Lakes region. Another rain producer for the east coast there, and then it just kind of pushes off. So you see again, ridging and troughs, balancing act for the atmosphere. So now we're saying another low sets up equally, two lows at 985. Yeah, that's kind of weird there. We'll have to see what happens with that. But it does dig out. It digs out a little bit, just not as dramatic as what we saw before. So this is pretty far out. Like I said, this stuff is just, you're looking at the overall pattern. So we'll just kind of scoot through this. Big storm coming into the west coast. Near into November now. Another system of rain coming along the eastern seaboard here. And we'll see if that happens. Okay, so let's look at temperature anomaly. So this will tell us your departure from average. So cool across the central U.S., west coast dry or warmer, east coast a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler than average. And then you see cooler than average down southeast and up here in the northern states. Look at California. We know that they were dry through the whole run and warm. So that's just fire situation over there is terrible. Texas, Oklahoma up into the central U.S. looking cooler than average. Kind of scoots down into Texas. Stays a little cooler than average down there. Then you see kind of the next front coming through here, or high pressure really is what it was. Getting some cooler temperatures there. So definitely feel more like late fall, early winter in the northern states there, and a little bit on the west coast. And then here was the push down into the southeastern states. We're not talking snow, just a little cooler than average. And you can just kind of see what happens as this run goes along. Cooler there on the east coast as that front goes through. And it just kind of averages out. So let's go over to the euro. That's just the called the King Euro. This is the more reliable of the two models. So this goes in 24-hour increments, not 6-hour increments like the GFS. You kind of high pressure, a little bit of digging here through the Great Lakes region. And it kind of goes down further, almost reaching to Texas, maybe a little bit cooler there in Texas. A little bit of a trough, then some the low pressure setting up, and then have the other one down here. So it looks like maybe a low pressure center will develop there. I'm just backing it up here in time. Yeah, right here, right over Louisiana. Heads off towards Illinois. It kind of disappears, but this other one takes over. A little cooler than average across the U.S. This is for next Tuesday. And then you see a little bit cooler there heading into Montana, Wisconsin, straight on down. So not super cold down here, but just a little bit colder than average. And that was, all the different fronts. And here's the actual temperature departure right here. We'll kind of see how it matches up with the GFS. Cooler across the Midwest, and then heads on over to the southeast states here, up to Montana. And have a cold pool there. Look how warm it gets out west. Gonna be a little bit warmer than average here coming into the weekend. And then the front must come through and cool it down. And you see it cool. Stays cool on the west and the upper states, and then it moves off as the front comes through, looks like. And that's it. So one thing you can do with these models, and you can see, tropicaltidbits.com. You can go on there and you can look at the models yourself. But you can play around with these. So you can go back. You can go to forecast hour 0. Okay, so here's right now. So go 24 hours. So you see it kind of gets cool down in here, Dakotas and Minnesota. Then you can come over here and you can say, oh yeah, so this tells you the high and low pressures, where the fronts are and whatnot. You can say, okay, there's higher pressure on the west coast here. A little bit of dig into Montana and all that, or Dakotas. Come over here. Yeah, it pretty much matches up with the temperatures. And you go forward, boom, boom. Moves off further to the east, a little bit down there, all the way down to Louisiana. Even though this is saying the front's there, so it's high pressure, so it's saying, oops, and it's going to be a little bit cooler than average under this high pressure. Cold air is going to filter in a little bit. So then you just move off. Okay, here's where we see a large part of the central U.S. Why is that? Well, the high pressure is setting up here and it's digging out a little bit before this high pressure really gets established in there. Then you can also go from, you can compare the different models. You can put both of these at the beginning of their runs, put them side by side here. And you can say, sorry, I chose the wrong one. So we're looking at fronts. So here's from the initialization of the model. And I know this might be a little more in depth than some people want, but some people may like this. So here it is, high, high, low, low. Then you come over here and you look. Okay, so we got a high pressure center here, looks like a low here and a low here. So let's go forward. We're going to go to 48 hours on this one since the Euro only does 24-hour increments. So now we'll go 48 hours. Low pressure center up here by Minnesota, Great Lakes region. GFS has it further north. A little bit further north. Not too much of a difference. Okay, let's go 48 hours. Oh, sorry. 48 hours, 48 hours. So they're pretty much in the same. This one's a little back here, probably. Sort of has a low pressure center, or all right here. You can tell by the isobars. You can see kind of the circle formation of the isobars here. Sorry, the wind barbs. That's what's telling you. Pretty much the low's right in here. So it's about the same. So now we go to 72 hours, and you guys get the general idea. But this is really good if you're looking to compare the models and say, say you live over in here and you're like, is a snowstorm coming? Maybe, maybe not, and then you can kind of compare the models and see how they do. So that's just kind of how that works. And that's something that I do when snow's going to come to my area. I compare all the models and see exactly what's going to happen. But again, rainy through the west here, or through the west, the central U.S. all the way down to the Gulf, and rainy in the west, but pretty mild overall. I mean, yeah, you're going to see some colder temperatures up high, but pretty mundane. So that's the forecast for today, how things are looking. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you're interested to get my videos. When they come out, just click that bell icon. This is WX Ninja. We'll see you next time. Take care.